Welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat Podcast, y'all. I am your host, JoJo.
And I'm Tyra.
Ooh.
What's poppin'?
I almost forgot what I was going to say.
Really?
I was about to hit the and then...
For no reason?
In lieu of ooh, because I forgot that I was supposed to say ooh.
Oh, okay. Damn, she rusty.
Yeah.
Rusty dusty.
Okay, all right.
I'm
Relax
kidding.
yourself.
Anyways, we are recording this the day before it comes out, so this is like current news type of thing, I guess. Cause we're last minute, but I feel like airing it on Wednesdays works way better than a Monday. I don't know what we were thinking for the past 3 years doing Mondays. Because then it's like the weekend and it's Sunday and we're like, oh shit, like, there's so many things to do on the weekend. And then it's like, oh shit, we got to do the podcast. And now it's like, we still have Monday, Tuesday to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, we were always busy on the weekends, but I don't know. It worked. It
yeah,
worked until it didn't.
Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out to Natalie. I hope that's her name. I forget. I actually met her. She's a listener, or at least I hope she's a listener. That's why I just don't be making shit up. But I've been doing I'm part of this little recruitment team that my job has, and we've been doing job fairs this last week or two. And I recently did one actually today. And I met somebody who came up and was just super excited and stoked to see me, and was like, oh my god, it's such an inspiration to see you here, and being within this career field. So it was, I'm not famous. It was mad cool though, very, very exciting and humbling experience. I also had another person who was actually within law enforcement, just in a specialty field, that came up to me and said hi to me, and also mentioned that they had listened to our podcast, and just was it's just it's cool to see you here type shit, so I just wanted to say thank you guys, and
very cool.
You make me feel like
very cool.
I'm on the right path, and
I know your coworkers are
no, they actually love it. They're
really?
That's so cool.
Were they gassing you?
Yeah, they're like, oh wow, she's famous, and I'm like, I'm not famous, y'all. Chill,
yeah, relax.
Yeah. But nonetheless, I love it, and thank you guys for coming, saying hi to me, and checking in on me, and it just as much as it can be an inspiration to you to see me in the position that I'm in. It's even more how do you say it? Come on, baby, help me with the word.
Like rewarding.
Yes. Yes. To have you guys give me that feedback, and make me feel like I'm doing good things.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
Popping.
Yeah. I'm very humble about my roles.
Yeah, I don't like to tell people at work either.
Yeah.
I just didn't. And then maybe I would tell one person, but then I feel like other people will find out some way or somehow. And then it's girl, y'all wouldn't understand because y'all not LGBTQ. But okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, the weather here in New Jersey has been really nice. It's giving spring.
We're getting there, y'all. The weather is breaking.
Yeah, and I'm here for it. Honestly, I think the seasonal depression is gone because I feel I feel better. I feel lighter. I want to go outside. I want to go on a walk. I don't mind walking the dogs, even though walking the dogs is actually really annoying. I think it's also because we're in a better environment. So it's a walkable city, and you're not trying to cross the street and there's 1,100,000 cars in the way and things like that.
Yeah. Not less traffic and chaos going on.
Yeah, there's still traffic, but not not on our block at least.
Yep.
But anyways, so much going on, y'all. I've been like catching up on the Love is Blind reunion, so I'm still catching up, but I already know who said yes, who said no during the weddings. Jojo didn't even bother watching it.
And
She
I'm not
was
going to.
she was like, I'm over this. Like, I just can't. But honestly, I'm not surprised with the outcome. If you watch Love is Blind and you listen to not last week's episode, but I think the week before that, or maybe the week before that, I don't remember, where I talked about Love is Blind. Um and the drama and like is it LGBTQ, um and it was so crazy because I feel like a lot of the reasons why people broke up or didn't make it is because of things going on right now, like LGBTQ issues and reproductive rights and all of that. So I feel like it's really, they did a good job at, I guess, editing it. I know that there was more drama behind the scenes, but it was like very, I feel like it started off boring but then it got better. But anyways, we're not gonna talk about that today. We're actually gonna talk about some other drama. Um, and kind of because we're not a podcast that likes to gossip, but it kind of ties in with today's topic. And um, it's some WNBA drama. And honestly, I just love going to the games. I don't be knowing who plays for who. Like Georgia be the one catching me up with things. I don't know who dates who, and I don't know what goes on. But Georgia will really be catching me up, and we're gonna be talking about that. We're gonna be talking about being heteroflexible. Never heard of the word till recently, and then
Wonder if it's in our little book.
right. And then the other thing we're going to talk about, a little clip that I saw about someone talking about how being queer is a choice. And I say that with my air quotes up in the air. Is it up? It's up there? Is it in the book?
It's in here, girl. I literally turned to the
Wow.
letter H and it took me right to that page.
Wow. Look at that.
Literally opened it to H.
Wow.
Wow.
The universe, huh? Wow. Read what it says.
Hold on. Let me let you get into gear and do what you was gonna do before we get into it.
Okay. So, and correct me if I say her name wrong.
Mm-hmm.
DiJonai, is that how you say it? Or DJ?
DiJonai.
DiJonai is a basketball player who is dating another basketball player, WNBA girls. And she went on a podcast by, what's her name? Angel Reese. It's called Unapologetically Angel, and they were just kind of like talking about sports, the WNBA stuff, and then they went into her relationship. And I'm gonna quote what she said because this is literally what she said. She said, "No, I'm not even like into girls. Guys even slide in my DMs saying it's a waste. Like, you're too pretty. It's a waste to be with a girl. I'm not gay. I just like being with Liz." And she said something else along the lines of like, I don't know, she kind of like mocked it a little bit. I don't know what she said, but it like gave me the cringe. She was like, when people be like, "Oh, you're gay," she's like, "No, I'm not gay." Like it was a shame. My goodness, mind you, she's been dating this girl for over 3 years, or since 2022 or something like that.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's on and off. I don't know, but they have been dating for a while because they actually started dating in college. And of course, the tweets and the comments were going crazy. People were not happy with what she said. And some tweets said, DiJonai saying she's not gay or into women. She's just into her girlfriend is a red flag. Those relationships never end well. Someone saying, she reminds me of the new queer icon the girls love. Kudos to those type. But as a lesbian, I'm so glad I stopped dating those type of women. Absolutely not. And someone else said that's a whole ass red flag because you're basically saying you're gay for her, but straight for the right guy. Then a lot of people were saying, watch her end up with a guy, blah, 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 blah. This whole thing. And I feel like it kind of ties into today's topic because we were both like, interesting. Why would you say that?
So our neighbor is literally blasting, like
Techno.
has the window open, basically the speaker out the window, and is just jamming to some techno shit, and it's actually lit. Like I feel like I should have a rave in the backyard.
This sounds like, yeah, we're at the club.
Yeah, so if you hear that in the background, I apologize in advance. Anyway, I did see that TikTok where it was like briefly saying, what DiJonai said. And I mean, if that's what works for you, boo boo. I kind of knew it was gonna lean in under this like negative light of like the whole, oh, just another straight girl trying to, get what she wants and play under and come over and play on our side of the team for shits and gigs and make us look like a fool. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like sometimes it I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel like if it works for Alyssa, then it works for her. Like it's not like that's news to her. She didn't just I feel like people see that and then they just take it so personally. And I don't know if it's because it's just like is it a threat to like the lesbian community? Is that why it makes so many lesbians that upset?
I think it just like normalize, like it's like this is why guys are DMing her because she's saying shit like that.
Mm.
Like it's not like she's taking pride in, I guess, in being part of the community. Like I honestly wouldn't consider her part of the community because she doesn't even consider herself part of the community. You feel me?
Mhm.
Like I would hate to see her talking about like being in some pride event or being like sponsored by like a pride event for June, because that would be tragic. Like the girl don't even label herself as that, and you are, you know, giving her money for what? Like, yeah, that's how I feel.
So if she was in a position to where she was claiming the community, you just feel like
I'd be like, girl,
then that's
what?
like
Let's
queer baiting.
Yeah, like let's replay what you said. I'm not even gay. Like I'm not even gay. Like like I mean, she's never gonna see this, so I really don't give a damn. I'm mocking her how she was mocking us. But yeah.
But she's not mocking us per se.
God damn. And then you have sent me the like what does it mean to be heteroflexible? And like we're not labeling her, but I feel like it's like a related topic.
Mm-hmm.
So what does the book say?
For those of you who don't know or need a reminder, because we've talked about this book before in past episodes, The Queen's English by Chloe D. Davis, the LGBTQIA plus dictionary of lingo and don't know that word but phrases. It's actually pretty lit. There's so many things in here. We haven't really sat down and read it either. But I didn't know that this was in here. I never knew this terminology, never heard this word. And it actually happened when we were talking about this whole DiJonai thing. And I looked it up and I was like, you know what? I feel like this is such a common thing for a lot of women to be like, I'm not gay or I don't claim a specific sexuality or the whole I'm still straight, like I still identify as straight, but for one woman, I find myself in attraction or, interested in pursuing or curious to pursue a romantic or sexual relationship with. And as I was like looking it up like for topics or I guess research behind like, oh, women who identify as straight but find themselves attracted to women, whatever, heteroflexibility came up and I had never heard of it and I thought it was the nuttiest thing ever because I was like, yo, there's really a freaking term for everything.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about this. Like if a gay, okay, think a gay, if a male basketball player, let's say what's a famous basketball player like Stephen Curry goes on a podcast and he's like, let's say he's dating a guy and he'll be like, yeah, I'm not gay though, but I'm gay for him. What do people be like, girl, what the fuck are you saying? We know that he's married, so it's like a weird example. But like,
Yeah.
like any famous basketball player that goes on a podcast and,
Mm.
and like admits to dating another
I just
man.
think that it's really hard for people to identify with the identification of gay, with the sexuality of gay.
Well, she's young, so I feel like maybe she's still coming to terms with it.
Yeah. If she thinks she's not gay, then she's not gay.
Stay
I
stay
almost feel
tuned.
like it's because we just find it so hard to be like, how can you pursue a relationship with another woman if you're not gay or some type of gay or bisexual or this or that. And I think like because we only know like those things to be under the umbrella of gay, lesbian, or bisexual, it's like it don't make sense to be pursuing another person and not be one letter out of the community. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
But that's where this whole heteroflexible thing comes in. So I'm gonna read that real quick. Do you have? Well, you'll tell me if you have a different.
Mm-hmm.
So it says heteroflexible. It says describing a person who is predominantly heterosexual but is open to experiencing gay or queer relationships and sexual encounters. This person is not likely to identify as bisexual. There's like a quote in here that says, I haven't had a same sex or queer relationship yet, but I do consider myself to be open to the heteroflexible. Oh, open and heteroflexible. Sorry, I can't read. Usage note. The use of this term relies on an individual's preference. Do not assume that an individual wants to be identified by this term. Okay.
So it's like describing something. Is that what it is? The adjective, what was it describing it as?
Oh, it says describing a person who is predominantly heterosexual but is open to experiencing gay or queer relationships or sexual encounters. So, I mean, essentially,
like a drunk straight girl. Okay.
no, you don't have to be intoxicated to like think like that.
They always want to kiss a girl, a couple drinks.
You honestly, I think that's a norm. Like I honestly hear girls say all the time, like, no, yeah, the only time I kiss a girl is if I'm kissing my best friend drunk.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
When did this book come out? Probably say in the back. Had to be recent.
We've had this for like 3 years already. So,
all right. Online, there's some research. We're gonna talk about what it means, where it comes from, and why it's important. So, what does heteroflexible mean? It's a person mostly attracted to the opposite gender, but occasionally feels attraction to the same gender. This can be romantic or sexual or both. Literally what you said. Where does the term come from? It appeared online in the early 2000s, but the experience of being mostly straight has always existed. It's just now a label. So that's a label, apparently. It says a heteroflexible person might be primarily, I can't speak, attracted to one gender but open to experiences with the other gender, blah blah blah. Someone said, isn't this the same as being bisexual? Not exactly. Bisexuality is being attracted to more than one gender. Heteroflexible people have a dominant preference for one gender, but they can overlap with bisexuality. And somebody asked, why is this term controversial? Some people believe the term erases bisexuality, while others feel it accurately reflects their experience. Labels are personal and one isn't better than the other. People may prefer to use heteroflexible if it better describes their attraction patterns or experiences. It's about what feels right for the individual. And then there's a little quiz to find out if this fits you. So the first question is, who do I feel most attracted to? Have I felt attracted to people of my gender in the past? Did I ever act on those feelings? Did I want to act on those feelings? If so, how did it feel? In a world where people weren't homophobic or biphobic, who would I date, sleep with, and be attracted to? The last one, would I like to experiment with someone of the same gender?
Do you feel like heteroflexible? And bisexuality line up? Like, do you see it as the same thing?
No.
Okay, I'm surprised. I feel like you were gonna say yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because as it said, like people would just think it like it's the same as bisexuality because it's saying that you would entertain with another gender.
Yeah.
But it's not the whole point of the whole hetero flexible is to say that okay, I'm predominantly straight
Mm-hmm.
and I could see myself or could be curious to mess with someone of
Mm-hmm.
the other gender or the same gender,
Mm-hmm.
which is to say for those women who are like, I would mess with that one girl.
Mm-hmm.
I would date that one girl. I would have an experience with that one girl.
Yeah, people say that, but all they do is kiss.
And that's fine. If that's as far as their encounter or
Mm.
curiosity goes, then that's it.
Then they're heteroflexible. They're not
Yeah,
bisexual.
right. But
Okay.
I feel like bisexuality really opens the spectrum of like you literally date with, you know, within other genders outside of like an opposite or the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like you openly date anybody that you're attracted to, regardless of the gender.
Mm-hmm.
Where like that hetero flexibility is just saying, I'm not open to just dating any gender. I like the opposite gender, but I'm open to exploring with that one person of the same gender.
Mm-hmm.
But while reading that in this book, it gave me another thing to look up, which was homoflexible and lesbi flexible.
Oigan eso.
I know. I've started to love this book. Why didn't I read deep into this
Oigan
sooner?
eso.
Homoflexible says it describes a person who is gay or lesbian but open to experiencing relationships and sexual encounter with people of other gender expressions. This is oh, this person is not likely to identify as bisexual.
Huh.
Right.
I'm very confused here. I feel
Okay.
like we just call that open. Like I'm open. Like I'm open to experiences. I'm open to trying things. Like I'm flexible.
It's like
But I've never hear people say that word.
what is it like where you're just like, oh, I'm like sexually fluid or like
Mm-hmm. Right.
whatever is that fluidity
Yeah.
falls under the umbrella of queerness.
Yeah.
Okay, where's it at? Let's be flexible. Describing a woman who identifies as predominantly lesbian but is open to relationships and sexual encounters with men or gender non-confirming partners. This person is not likely to identify as bisexual.
Relationships with men.
Yes.
Interesting.
They're open.
I feel like there are definitely some girls out there like that.
It's I just think
So many things.
I love when I'm just like, learning things because I'm just like, there's so much to sexuality and things that I feel like I'm still learning. I'm still learning, and I feel like it sounds crazy and weird at first. Because I feel like the more that you're exposed to or learn, like you start to identify with more, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying like you need to identify with anything. Like if you're a lesbian, you're a lesbian. If you're gay, you're gay. If you're this, but I just feel like we're growing so much out. Sometimes it can be difficult because it's just like, why do we need all these things? Why is there so many? Why can't it just be black and white, this and that, right? Why can't it just be gay, bi, and but like
I think old school people or people who are older are like, why can't we just keep it simple, like gay, bi, lesbian, trans, whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like the newer generation is the type to, use these terms.
Yeah.
And confuse people, honestly.
It's I think it just comes down to what you identify with and what feels like most like
you.
Yeah, you.
The pride flag is about to have 100 colors, huh? OMG.
I mean, there's been talk about how maybe like all those things aren't like how everything is getting branched under one community, and it's not. Some of the things are its own things. And that's okay. But yeah, maybe there might be a new color to the flag. I don't know. But I thought that was cool. So
very cool. And then, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about is that I saw this video pop up on Instagram, and it was a black gay guy talking about how being queer is actually a choice. And he says that because it's kind of like a clickbait, because most people are like, no, like, you know, I was born this way, like being queer is not a choice. You know, if I could choose, I would be straight, type of thing. And I want to like talk about his, because he had a YouTube video kind of describing it and going in more detail with it. And this is what he says. He said, there are social liberal gay men who do not subscribe to all of queerness. These are the ones who are misogynistic, transphobic, racist, and fatphobic, etc., excluding excluding the diversity that is queerness because the queer community does not look like one thing. Then he said, ask any gender nonconforming or a person of color if they feel that the queer community and the gay community are the same thing, and they would tell you that those are two separate things. And then he said, you can be gay but not queer. Queerness is not racist, queerness is not fatphobic, and queerness is not ableist. And I feel like it kind of ties into the first thing we talked about with the WNBA player. Like, it's clear as day that she doesn't see herself as part of the community. She would never see herself as like queer, I guess you could say. And I feel like I started I feel like later how do I say this? Like later on into the podcast, I started identifying with more queer because I feel like it's like an umbrella term to other things. And I also feel like being queer, um how do I describe this? Like I feel like with everything that's going on now with who we have in as the president, there are unfortunately some people who did vote for him. And I wouldn't consider those people queer. I feel like they are the type that are just like they don't see themselves connected to the LGBT community as a whole.
Mm.
Like they don't see the other issues, or if they do see them, they don't really care for it. They only care for themselves. But it was a very interesting subject. It was a long video. It was like maybe like 17 minutes or so. But I thought it was interesting, and I feel like um it kind of relates to like today's topic. And I still wouldn't go around saying being queer is a choice, but I think it was just like his clickbait um intro to make you like keep listening. Um but yeah, what do you think about that?
Mm, I watched the video and I like
It was so much. It was a
it
lot
was
of info.
it was a lot that I would probably have to watch it like three more times just
Uh-huh.
to really understand most of it. Um, but I latched on to the part where he was like, I'm so into my, but I do agree with the part where it's like, oh, like people aren't into their queerness. Like you do have, um, gay men and lesbian women who are just like, why do we have to be that gay? Like, why
Yeah,
do
yeah.
people have to be that flamboyant? Why do you have to flaunt? Why do you have to this? Why do you have to that? Like, they just think like, oh, it's a sexuality, not an identity type.
Yeah.
And
Like they don't make it, I guess you could say they don't make it like their whole personality, I
mm-hmm.
guess. And I don't think we make it our whole personality. I just feel like we're talking about our experiences, and also like the fact that there's nothing else out there
Yeah,
that we can relate
we're
to.
fucking. I feel like I don't want to say speaking for other people, but like we're speaking out for people who ultimately either feel the same way or can relate.
Hmm.
Um, because some people again don't have that space, don't have that outlet. But you know, I really don't give a fuck. I don't want to say like it's my whole personality or anything, but like I am very in tune with my sexuality. Love the fact that I'm gay. I always use the term gay because gay is just so much. I don't know. I don't identify with the word lesbian for some
Hmm.
reason, and I
Hmm.
don't know that I'm using the right word in terms of identify, but like I don't like the label. I don't know why, but I just say I'm gay, 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 gay. But he had also mentioned something along the lines of like, you have gay men who look at women or like lesbians and they're just like, ew. ill, ill, ill. Like they
Mm-hmm.
just cannot. And he's like, I love women. I love
Mm-hmm.
lesbians. Like I actually, you know, find some attractive type shit. And I'm just like, oh my God. I love that
Yeah.
he's saying this because I feel that way about gay men. Like I see gay men and I just think they're the cutest thing ever.
Right. And then there's some gay men who see you as like a threat. It's just so weird to me.
What do you mean?
I feel like some gay men do not like women or don't just I don't know. I feel like they be wanting to have everything to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes when I go to some spaces and the room is like has a lot of gay men, it feels like overpowering.
Yeah.
And then I feel awkward in that space.
Mm-hmm. He also mentioned along the lines of like sharing certain spaces or being in certain spaces that is like queer spaces, but not predominantly male gay spaces, or like, you know,
Yeah,
where it's
like
like
I
he
would
likes
rather
being in spaces where they
right.
share the room.
Right. I would rather go to a place where it's like more than just men.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I know
Yeah.
it's hard to find sometimes, but it shouldn't have
Yeah.
to be hard to find.
But I love my gay men and I think they're beautiful and I'm attracted to you hoes too.
um, but yeah, that
Do
was
you
our
know who his
what?
name so like they can
Oh
watch it?
yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna also link it, but
Queerness is a choice. Yeah,
Yeah, I said it.
um the YouTube like title is being queer doesn't mean you're actually queer. And his name is Horace Gold. That's spelled Horace Gold. And it got a lot of views, a lot of comments. And it was just like he had like an interesting perspective, which I enjoyed. And I only talked about like a little bit of it, but he also talked about like surrogacy and how he thought that was weird and how he feels like you're basically paying for someone's womb.
Mm,
And I was like, oh, that's an interesting take. Like
yeah.
I never really thought of that. I mean, you couldn't pay me shit. um, but yeah, that was it. Let's get into a family meeting. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm currently in a 1 year and 6 month relationship with my partner. I've noticed she's been hanging with her guy friends more and more recently. These guy friends she grew up with, so best friends. When I tell her she's hanging out with them too much, she says I'm trying to control her and continues hanging out with them. So she works part time and has a lot of free time when I'm at work, working full time. So she uses that time to hang out every day. Now, when I have free time, I take care of the house and our pets. Am I wrong for wanting her to take care of the home and pets before hanging out? Is asking her to cut down on hanging out every day being controlling?
I don't want to say it's being controlling. Um, I think it's I don't want to say it's a big ask. I think if there's things that need to be taken care of in the home where you guys are like splitting those responsibilities, if those responsibilities are not being taken care of, then you're in your right to ask or like, you know, tell her, hey, like I need you to do these things and make these things happen.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of when I was younger because my mom would not let us go out if the chores weren't done.
Mm.
Like, girl, I would have to clean the whole house and then walk into her room all shy, sit at the end of her bed, be like, can I go to the movies with my friends? The house is clean, my room is clean. Like, I literally had to do the most just to ask her to go out, and I would still be shook.
Mm.
Um, and I'm not saying like this is the same thing, it just reminds me of it, but I'm just a person where I wouldn't be able to go out because I would feel guilty. Like, okay, you're working part time, that's fine. What are you doing to like possibly change that in the future? Or like, is this how it's always gonna be? If that's how it's always gonna be and you guys are both okay with it, then okay. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, if I feel like, don't you feel guilty in a sense that like your partner works so hard and you're like chilling and like, I feel like if anything, she should be doing more around the house because she has more free time.
Yeah.
And it really shouldn't bother her because you work part-time.
And
Like, honestly, like, I feel like that's our situation right now.
mhm.
And I really don't mind doing things around the house. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's always something to do too.
Yeah. I feel like, well, for you, you're definitely gonna find something. So there's never not gonna be something.
There's always
to do.
something to
There's
do.
always gonna be something for you to do because you will find something.
There's always something to do.
But yeah, I feel like, you know, if you're working part time and it's like, yeah, you might take on a little bit more responsibility than what you guys normally share. And I don't think that that's asking for too much. But I also think, you know, sometimes you got to be mindful of your partner. Obviously, if you have more time, like you, like I don't have a problem if you go and spend your time with friends. I want you to do that.
Like, my friends are all working, so
I
like,
know,
I
I
don't even know what
know.
the
I'm
hell.
about to say you don't really, but like even like okay, now that you aren't working full time and like you have more flexible time to be, you know, you go and you've been to see your parents more, your family more, you
Mhm.
know, you have made plans with your friends, like
Mhm.
so it's like I love that for you. Get out the house because
Yeah.
you know, once you start working full time again, it's not gonna be that type of vibe, that type of energy.
Right.
But I guess like if it's every single day, it's just like, okay, you got all this free time. Is some of that aside from getting things done in the house, how are we spending that time? Like, am
That's
I
true.
getting some of that time?
Mhm.
I like at the end of the day, things around home gotta get done, but that shouldn't account for our time together.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that too. It's the little things, and maybe she just doesn't realize it because I feel like there's some people that actually like don't realize it. Like I feel like people be having two different types of like clean, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Like, it's like for you, you're like, this bathroom is disgusting, like it needs to be clean. And for someone else, it's like, oh, this is fine.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, girl, you gotta scrub the tub
Mm-mm.
and the toilet. But yeah, I feel like it just all comes down to communication. Like, I would just bring it up, like, hey, like, I noticed you've been hanging out with your friends a lot, and honestly, I feel like I'm doing most of the chores around the house, and I'm tired.
Mhm.
So what can we do to change that? Crazy. But yeah, that is all, folks.
We got anything coming up?
No.
Or-
Oh wait, well, we're still going to Tally. We're still going to Bali and Thailand in July of this year. This is really the last time y'all can sign up, like in April, because then by April you have to like pay the full amount. So yeah, if you guys are interested in coming to Bali or Thailand with us, click the link on our bio.
Get in there. Get in there or get left behind.
Yeah, we have like 30 something people coming.
Yeah.
Like combining both trips.
Both trips, yeah.
So it's gonna be lit. Can't wait.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe.
Deuce, mother goose.
Bye.